Hey, Desiree here with Soul Path Astrology and today's Oracle card readings. Welcome to video 3. Before I get started, though, if you do find value in these, please like it, share the channel with your friends who you think might enjoy, and subscribe if you haven't. It is really appreciated and helps with the algorithms. Okay, without further ado, card 3, ready? We have the Five of Wands reversed. So it's actually better to have this come up reversed in many respects. Upright, it's sort of like it's like a dick measuring contest. It's very about conflict. Reversed, it's like, okay, this is an exploration around how do we feel internally about conflict? Where might we have a tendency to internalize conflict as a people pleasing thing rather than facing it directly? This is a perfect energy for Libra too, because we're in Libra season. It's a Libra eclipse. Where might we be leaking our energy in trying to either prove ourselves, right? Like forcibly causing conflict or feeling like constantly in relationship, we need to prove our value or prove our worth. Or where might you be in the name of harmony, actually just internalizing that conflict and causing yourself to lose a lot of steam, a lot of self-esteem, to be honest, and just steam like an energy. It's like trying to push a beach ball under the water, right? Like it's the bigger the ball, the harder it is. And this is like an invitation to recognize and to take some time to explore your relationship to conflict. Because standing in your truth, standing and coming to conflict from your heart with this concept of seeking harmony, not in the sense that somebody has to give up something important to themselves, but rather in like wholesale, really making an effort to understand the other person's perspective and clearly articulating yours, like allowing for the other person to like have faith in them that they can hold their feelings. That this card often comes up in readings when there's been a journey or you're currently in a journey around taking responsibility for other people's feelings, carrying their feelings instead of caring, right? Like discerning the difference there. There's a really important aspect of boundary keeping that when you recognize that it's not about making the other person adhere to your boundaries, but rather it's about getting clear for yourself what you are and are not available for, making that clear to those that are interfacing with you. And when it's not met, asking, hey, just reminder, here's what my boundary is. And if they don't want to meet it, then you meet your boundary by exiting, right? The other thing that might come up with this card is like an acknowledgement that there has been a big fight, but now things have settled out. And there's like this sort of this feeling of relief, like, well, I'm glad that's done. There was a lot of tension there for a while, and it feels like through this direct communication now it's eased and we can move forward and there's like relief from that. So I hope that landed. I know that conflict can really be because I'm on this masculine energy kick and I want to talk about a little bit before I end this video about our fear around force and having for me this attachment around it because I grew up around abuse and our culture is extremely abusive. There's a lot of raping and pillaging going on in our culture. So even if your household that you grew up in didn't have abuse in it, you see it in the world. You see it on TV, you see it in groups, you hear about it, it's on the news, right? And so this is an energy pattern that's very prevalent. And the solution isn't to stick our heads in the sand and hope that it goes away. Right? It's not about avoiding the conflict, but nor is it about like adding fuel to that fire from the same place that started the conflict. This is about an invitation to step into a new iteration of understanding the value of conflict and just recognizing it's almost like if you can take the attack out of it and just see it as somebody is trying to define where their boundary line is, that where they end and begin, and you have a boundary line where you end and begin. And rather than seeing it as a personal attack, it's like, how can we bring to bear a loving, it's not about anyone giving up their boundaries per se, but like bringing love to it to help find where they can connect in a way that allows the boundaries to remain intact. So you can still have that connection, but the boundaries remain intact. It doesn't have to turn into this big enmeshment, nor does it have to blow up into this nuclear, like, right? It's like, How can we be close? How can we interface and interact, but still have this healthy boundary remain, it's pliable. Maybe it does this a little bit, but have it still remain intact, because that is where you can source a sense of security from. Like, this is a big deal, learning how to source security from like a grounded place that you have cultivated through stepping into your own no and learning ways of expressing what you are and aren't available for in ways that are not deliberately inflammatory, no, nor like underexpressed. And because sometimes there is still going to be an explosive conflict, learning to arrive to those situations and not let the explosion throw you off your course. Like, what practices do you have in place to bring you back to your center so that even if this is happening conflictually, that you're on it. You're connected to something deeper and stiller. It's not about checking out. It's not about numbing out. It's like you're very present. This is the masculine at its like most beautiful, like deeply present, deeply present, completely aware of what's going on, not deluding oneself, not checking out. And because it's being sourced from something greater than you, there's a stillness, right? The intention is to bring things back into harmony. Like, what is the higher harmonic resonance? And that's what you tune into, so that as you're tuned into that, right, everything around you starts to resonate at that almost organically, almost naturally, like almost effortlessly. It just starts to align with your resonance of deep presence. So if this was your card, there's an invitation there to start practicing that. Maybe look up some ways that you can learn how to feel that in your body. Maybe you need to find a mentor who's already really embodying that, right? And in that presence of that stillness, of that, right? It awakens and evokes in you the same skill set, because that's just how it works. That's how energy works. It's magic. And the same with that electricity appears to be magic. So yeah, I hope that landed. I would love to hear about if it did or not. Your comments are always greatly appreciated. And if you want a reading, if you want to deep dive and explore this a little bit further with me, I would love to do so. You will find a link to my calendar in the description of the video and in the comments below as well. Okay, enjoy this wildly cool eclipse season that is really calling in some good stuff. And we'll see you again next week. Bye.